Hello, YouTubers. This is RobberDesign5 here with a, I guess, update for my course, the Conclave budget build deck. I got some cards in, found some random cards I had for it, and I figured I'd update you on it. Things have changed slightly, but not too much. It's just it's plays drastically different than it used to. That's for damn sure. So here's course the Conclave. These dryads, they are 3/8, and they cost 9 mana or 8 mana to throw down. 4 generic, 2 green, and 2 white. And they allow you to tap extra mana as you're casting a creature to give it +1/+1 counter. It's a pretty convenient card. So if you can get it out, if you ramp it up enough to get it out fairly early. So we'll start with non-basic lands. Got the first bounce land, or Karoo land, if you would look it up. In Celestia Sanctuary, you get your green and your white, and with another card, it will be untapped when it comes into play. Even though it does send a land back to your hand, you're still getting the 2 bonus lands. So, on turn 2, you'll still have 3 mana. So, it's pretty good. I got one of the 2 man lands. This is green-white, Stirring Wildwood. It's got reach, and it's a 3/4 when you animate it. So it's one of my favorites next to Raging Ravine. So, got the Sunpetal Grove. This is the Grey Pelt Refuge. Gives you 1 life when it comes into play. I forgot about this card. I was randomly looking through my cards, and I was like, oh, why don't I put that in? It's pretty budget. Elfane Palace. It's been around for quite a while. It's green-white, so. On to white non-basics. Got Emir the Sky Ruin. You can get 7 white. You can get 7 planes pretty quick, so you can start bringing creatures back from your graveyard. So. Secluded Steps, another one. It pretty much is just going to be used for cycling late game, usually. Early game, you do have it for, of course, mana. But try and hold on to them as long as you can, because you'll want the cycle ability. Oran Reef, the Vastwood, is just a great way to pump your creatures up, green creatures. And green mana, you can't fail. Tranquil Thicket, another cycle land. So, here is the second man land in Dryad Arbor. I'm not too clear on this. I know it can be tutored up with creature tutor abilities. I'm not sure about with any of the land fetch abilities. Depending. So, because it is a forest, it is considered a forest. So, I'm not sure, but it's a cool card. So, here is Oran Reef 2.0 in Gavany Township. One of the cards I got in. You can do the same thing, put +1/+1 counters, except this is indiscriminate. It's not just green creatures. You can put them on any creature. So, Salt Crest Step is a storage land. I have a couple others, one of them being Dreadship Reef, which is a pretty cool card. I like storage lands. You can use it as colorless, or tap 1 and tap it to put a storage counter on it and then take X storage counters off it to get, your green and your white mana out of it. Comes in handy later on in the game, so with a couple cards in particular. Here's a Reliquary Tower, pretty self-explanatory. There we go. Godless Shrine, more mana fixing. Although you do have to have 5 lands to play for it to actually produce 2, it's still a fairly good card. Or Temple of the False God, not Godless Shrine. Godless Shrine is not a budget card. Terramorphic Expanse is still in here because I don't have any of the other cards I need to replace it, so still just good fetch. And then I have 10 forests and 10 plains. I kind of went with the older plains and forests. I got like Portal and Judgment and like Scourge and Onslaught lands or whatever. I just wanted to go with the whole. I like them. They're kind of cool. I like the darker border on them. So here's the plains, but there's 10 of each, and then there's 10 forests. So here's some Portal lands. So all right. So on to the artifacts. Mana rock wise, we only have a couple, but Darksteel Ingot's great because it's indestructible, so it just can't be targeted, and it can produce any mana color. Sol Ring, turn 1 Sol Ring. You've got 3 mana on turn 1, so you can't fail. Or 4 mana by turn 2. You can't fail. So, Amulet of Vigor. It helps untap those lands that come into play tapped, and any other permanent you play that comes into play tapped. Pretty underrated card. It is kind of a sneaky thing because it's just so unassuming that people don't really think about it. So, Doubling Cube. It lets you double the amount of mana in your mana pool. So, Seer Sundial. Oop, knocking cards over. When I saw this card for the first time when it came out, I was just like, huh. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but when I was looking at it at the time, I didn't really think about it. In EDH, it's a pretty cool card because, you get your landfall, you pay your 2, you draw your card. So it's a good card draw mechanic. And it works well with Darksteel Pendant. So you've got your Poor Man's Top and your draw engine right here. So you can look at the card, see if you want it. If not, you can put it on the bottom, do it again or whatever, and then do your thing. So, Tormod's Crypt, just some little grave. There's not too much. I can't put a Bojuka Bog in here, so for graveyard hate, I've got my Tormod's Crypt here, and thank you Milo for that. Milo did a great one for that. Mimic Vat is one of my new favorite EDH cards. I've pretty much got one in all my decks. It's just so cool because you can, say someone's got a Lord of Extinction in their graveyard and you want it, when it goes in the graveyard, you imprint it on this or Avatar of Woe or Shriekmaw, whatever. You can have it. So it's pretty cool. I got 3 artifact equipment cards that protects creatures and give them haste. Well, 2 give them haste, but all 3 protect them. And Swiftfoot Boots. Manariki Gusari is a great way to destroy other people's equipment. Loxodon Warhammer gives them +3/+0 lifelink and trample, I believe. Is it trample or just lifelink? Oh, it's just lifelink. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. I'm thinking of Behemoth Sledge. But it's still a really good card because lifelink will come into play later on. So here's the second one. We got Lightning Greaves. Once again, self-explanatory. 0 equip cost. 2 to put out, 0 to equip. Put on your chorus. Put on your whatever. So Banshee's Blade, extremely underrated equipment card. It gets +1/+1 counters every time damage is dealt. So yeah, it's a really, really cool card. So here's the last one in Whisper Silk Cloak. It will make your creatures unblockable and have Shroud. This is the one I was thinking of. Behemoth Sledge gives them trample and lifelink and +2/+2. So can't fail. On to colorless cards, colorless gold and hybrid cards. We have Aura Shards. So whenever you play whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. This card is usually gotten rid of right away, but of course can be brought back with a card that's in here repeatedly. So it's a good way to hate on people. Most people really, really, really hate this card, but it works really well. Wheel of Sun and Moon is another really good card if you're forced to discard or you don't have a Reliquary Tower out and you have to discard because you have 8 cards in your hand or whatever. You can discard at the bottom of your library. So privileged Position makes every other permanent other than this card indestructible, and they can't be targeted by spells or abilities. So yeah, it's a fairly decent card. There's a card you can use to make this untargetable, but I don't remember what it is, so I'm gonna have to look. If anyone knows, let me know, because then it'll, so Pollen Bright Wings, another enchantment, gives creatures flying, and it says that whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many 1/1 green sap-rolling creature tokens into play. So you get your little sap-rolling army, you put it on a Sun Titan or whatever, you get 6 1/1 tokens, so it's not bad. Hunting Grounds, it's got Threshold, and Threshold is when you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, and it states that whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may put a creature card from your hand into play. So it's not good until you have 7 cards in your graveyard, but it's a good way to get creatures out without paying the casting cost. Hymn of Rebirth is a good way to retrieve stuff. It lets you take a creature card from any graveyard and put it into play under your control. It's a really cool card. Onto the creatures, we have a Sigil Captain. Sigil Captain gives 1/1s +1/+1 counters. So, your little chompers come into play and they get beefy. And with the Gavany Township and the Ornwreath of Vastwood, you can make them even beefier. And with another card later on, it's just, you make your little token army. So, I'm going to actually replace, I have a foil one, I'm going to put it in place of this one. So, Celestial Guildmage, you can make sap-rolling tokens, or, give +1/+1 counters to creatures, and it just goes with the theme. So Reese the Redeemed, he makes tokens and he makes copies of those tokens, and he only costs 1 mana. So I usually put Shroud on this guy, have him make a token, then have him make a copy of that token, and then, so on and so forth. And so you can, next turn you do one turn, you put a token out, next turn you copy it, so you have 2 out, and then you put another token out, and so on and so forth. And you can, it doubles your, it just doubles everything up. It's kind of cool. Solace Knight Evangel, tap target creature, tap an untapped creature you control, put a 1/1 green saproling token into play. So you can, more tokens. Just tap a creature, put a token into play. Mystic Enforcer. It's got Threshold and Pro Black, so when it's you got 7 or more cards in your graveyard, it gets +3/+3 and flying, and is Pro Black. So you get a 6/6 flyer for 4. Loxodon Hierarch. When it comes to play, you get 4 life, and you can sack it to regenerate your creatures. So it's a pretty good card. Autochthon Worm. With all the creatures that will be in play, you can pay its convoke cost instead of having to pay 15 mana to cast it. So you can get a 9/14 for 3 green and 2 white by tapping all your little tokens. And with this deck, you will more than likely have enough creatures to pay it. It's 10 convoke cost. Tolsmir Wolfblood gives other white creatures and other green creatures +1/+1, and you can tap it to put a white and green wolf token named Voja into play. I'm assuming that's the wolf she is riding. So, Qasali Pride Mage, enchantment and artifact hate. You can get him back with a card that's in here, so he can be recycled. So he can be recycled multiple times actually. With all the tokens in here, Intangible Virtue is just probably the best way to go. Gives all, what's it say? Creature tokens you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. So all these little tokens will be beastly. Ghostly Prison, help keep everyone at bay. For every creature that an opponent has that attacks you, they have to pay 2. O-Ring for those pesky permanents you don't like. Condemn for those pesky generals that you don't like. Most metas have been banning this, but you know what? It's just a good card. They come at you, you tap it, you send their general, to the bottom of their library. So, of course, Path should be in every deck that has white. It is probably one of my favorite. This and Sword to Plowshares for spot removal. I mean, they may get a land and they may gain life, but you're still getting rid of a threat. So, Stormherd. That storage land is what will help bring this into play because it costs 8 and 2 colorless, and you get X, 1/1 white Pegasus creatures with tokens with flying onto the battlefield where X is your life total. So if you're at like 40 life and you haven't been attacked, you pop this down, you get 40/1/1 Pegasus. Pegasus tokens, and you put a +1/+1 counter on them with Sigil Captain, with Gavany Township, with Beastmaster Ascension, which is in here, and things like that. So you've got 40 beastly horsey tokens going down someone's throat. That's if no one counters it or board wipes you. So DOJ, just in case. So here's another way to keep your little 1/1s. A little bit on the board a little bit longer. It says other creatures you control get +0/+1, so your little 1/1s become 1/2s, so they can stay around a little bit longer. It's a veteran armorer. So, Spur Mage Apprentice is a really cool card. You can return two creature cards, or 2 target cards in an opponent's graveyard to their hand and destroy target attacking creature. They get their cards back, but you're getting rid of a threat. So I think it was actually put in one of the reprinted one of the commander decks. I'm not sure though. Guy Starter Muck. Its power and toughness are each equal to the amount of creatures on the board. So you wait until you've got your 40 Pegasuses out, your whatnot. You drop him down. He's a 40/40 with vigilance. So, and he comes to play. The 2 spirits come into play. So yeah. Here's how you're getting your cards back in Sun Titan. So, pretty self-explanatory. You can bring all your little permanents back that are 3 cost and below, there are quite a few in here. So if they're going away, you can bring them back. Emeria Angel. Its landfall ability is whenever a land comes to play, put a 1/1 white bird token into play. So more white creatures, more tokens, more beastly monsters. So that's a cool card. Beastmaster Ascension. Really easy to get the 7 counters on it for every creature attacking. Gives all creatures +5/+5. Yeah. So, as you can see, this deck is pretty much going to end up being token beatdown. Leyline of Vitality is another way to keep your little creatures around. It gives all creatures +0/+1. So, knocking cards over. I may actually put my Leyline of Sanctity in here. I'm not sure yet. Awakening Zone, just a really good card. Every turn you get a 0/1, chumper that produces mana when you sacrifice it. So, Night Soil, another card you can destroy. Remove two cards and target player's graveyard from the game and get a 1/1 green sap rolling token. So you're getting rid of their graveyard. You're getting tokens. So really cool card. It's from I think it's from Homelands, or is that Alliances? One of the two. I don't remember. So Parallel Lives, of course, great way to double things up. Since this is a budget deck and you can't really put a doubling cube or doubling season in here because that's what a $30 card or something right now. Parallel Lives will work. Good way to keep things protected in asceticism, and you can use it to regenerate. So Cultivate, gotta fetch up those lands when you need them. Same with this, Kodama's Reach. Do the same thing. So Repopulate is a great way to bring any cards back that you couldn't bring back with Sun Titan. So those creature cards that cost more can go back into your library. So the only Planeswalker currently in the deck is Garruk Wildspeaker. I'm looking for a Johnny Goldmane to go in here. But they work the best with the theme in this deck. They're the most versatile. They're also the most budget. And it's probably my favorite Garruk. So you can't fail when you can do a untap, put a beast out, and do an overrun ability. So when you imagine with Beastmaster Ascension out and all the +1/+1 counters on things, you drop this guy, or pull off his ultimate, and you're overrunning everything, giving everything trample and +3/+3. You're sending some pretty beastly creatures down people's throats. So Fertilid, it's just another really cool card. You can put +1/+1 tokens on things. So Drove of Elves is power and toughness is each equal to all green permanents you control. So with all the green permanents coming into play, this card gets pretty out of hand. So Hornet Queen, another suggestion from Paradox Tactics. When it comes into play, it gets its 4 1/1 green bug tokens that have death, touch, and flying. So you've got more cards, more little tokens that can get big, and they've got death touch. So that's pretty cool. Dosin the Falling Leaf, probably one of the most hated cards in EDH because it allows you to basically only play spells on your turn. Same with all other players. Most people don't like it because it kind of locks the game down and slows things down. But on their next turn, it forces them to waste a spot removal card or whatnot on it. So, excuse me. Moldiah Channelers, another really good card. If a land is flipped face up on your deck, in your library, it produces mana. If it's a creature card, it gets +3/+3, so it becomes a 5/5. So, Elvish Piper, another really cool card. It's not really budget. I think it's actually about $5 or $6 right now, but it's still cheaper than $10. So you can tap a green and tap it and put a creature card from your hand into play. Really, really good card. So Sakura Tribe Elder, when it goes to the graveyard, you get a land. So he's basically a utility creature. Same with this guy, Yavimaya Elder. You can pay, sack him, get a land. Scoop Mob is just a cool card. At the beginning of your turn, if you control 4 or more lands, I think it was at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 5 or more lands, put 4 +1/+1 counters on Scoop Mob. So you get your little 5/5 for 1 type deal. It's just a cool card. Oracle of Moldiah, just another really cool card. Play with the top card of your library revealed. If the top card of your library is a land, you may play it. You can play an extra land per turn, so you can play 2 land per turn, which is really cool. Another good ramp card. I think I have a couple more. I think I may end up putting them in my trade binder. It's a really good card. Tajuru Preserver, spells or abilities your opponents control can't force you to sacrifice permanents. It just kind of flew under the radar when Rise of the Eldrazi came out. It's a really, really good card. Yeah, I recommend it for any green deck, especially in EDH. So, Sporoloth Ancient. Put 1/1 Saproling creatures into play for each spore counter on it. So, yeah. Anyway, so that is my Chorus of the Conclave budget build so far. If you have any of the cards on my want list, please PM me. And if you, I hit the camera. And if you watched the previous video, any of the cards I pulled from those 3 packs are going to be for trade. And there's some stuff I put in there. I'll be putting up a new trade binder. So if you will go ahead and rate, comment, and subscribe up there. Feel free to give me your input. Like I said, if you have any of the cards on my want list for this deck, go ahead and PM me. I'm willing to do any kind of trade for it. So until next time, YouTube, see you later.